Without wasting time, we're going to start our conference for today, and I hope we are all ready and excited. Yeah, we have very wonderful presenters today, but we apologize for the timing. So the link was shared through emails, but some people, maybe they did not get the emails or they struggled to log in. Yeah, but this meeting is also recorded. It's going to be definitely sent to the people that struggle to log in. So they will get it as a video. Are we together? Perfect. All right, so we are going to have a very interesting conversation today on freedom. Yes, and I'm sure a lot of us may be wondering, what are these people going to talk about today? Yes. And our speakers, I think they are all ready to talk to us about what freedom is. And I believe that all of us have a certain concept of what freedom is. But today we are going to learn maybe something new, or we are going to improve on what we already have. Are we together?
Yes, yes.
And I would like this meeting to be a bit more interactive. Yes, I would like it to be a bit more interactive. So that means we'll have time to discuss as well. Yeah. So that means we'll have time to discuss, ask questions and everything. And without wasting time, let me introduce our first presenter. Are we all ready? Can we show some excitement? You can use the emojis there to show if you're excited. All
Yeah.
right, perfect, perfect. So we are going to introduce our first presenter. Our first presenter is a lady, of course. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture here. Um, her name is Thobeka Tana. She's 23 years old. I don't know if that was necessary to include, but yes, she's 23 year old and she's an entrepreneur. She's also a performing poet. Yes, I've seen her perform. I wish all of us here could see her perform. And she's also a writer and she's a creative and a marketing director for, she's a writer and a marketing director for Spare Essay magazine. Yes. So that's Thobeka Tana, our first speaker. So she's going to start just in a few minutes. So whenever she's ready, Thobeka, whenever you're ready, you will
Okay.
just let me know.
Yeah.
And I think I should be helping you with projecting your presentation. Am I
Yes.
correct? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I agree.
just,
Okay. All right. So hi guys. My name is Thobeka Tana. I am 23 years. Also, when I was writing my profile yesterday to Arnold, I remember asking my sister, I was like, is it actually necessary for me to send my age? I don't know why. I
yeah.
I did. But I also noticed that women who do not speak about their age are normally above the age of 30. But younger than 30, we are very open about our age. So yes. So
Okay.
yeah,
All
I
right.
am
Can,
year
can
old
I
and
get a confirmation if everyone can see
oh yes.
the slide projected? Can anyone see this?
I can see it on my side.
Okay.
I hope everyone else can see it as well. Okay, perfect. All right. So, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am Thobeka Tana. I am an entrepreneur. I am a performing poet. I've worked with UNFPA. I am a writer and creative and marketing director of Spear SA Magazine. I am really excited, guys, to be here with you this evening. I hope everyone is good as well. And so our subject today is about freedom. And fun fact about me is that I was actually born on Freedom Day. So, I mean, when Arnold thought who to get to speak about freedom, he thought, who else to get than someone born on Freedom Day? So, yeah, I mean, what is freedom, right? For me, freedom looks like birds chirping, wearing an outfit without thinking what people are going to say, singing loud without caring about how my voice sounds. But I would just love to touch on what freedom looks like for women, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. So when we talk about freedom for women, we are not just talking about political rights or workplace equity, although those are very vital, because till this day we hear about women complaining that they get a different wage than men, like men get paid more just because they're men. And but we are talking about something that is deeper, something that lives in the heart, the soul. And in our everyday relationships, I mean, emotionally, freedom means a woman has the right to feel everything without shame, because women are so quick to be labeled moody, difficult, to cry without being called weak, to express anger without being labeled difficult, because people are so quick to label a woman something else than what she actually is. To be vulnerable without fearing judgment, it means living without fearing judgment. It means living without the pressure to constantly perform emotional labor for others while suppressing her own needs. Um, Emotional freedom is the ability to own her story, her trauma, her healing, and to know that she's not alone in it. Because trust me, I'm sure we've all been called difficult before. We've all been called moody. Like, being a woman is a whole experience of its own. And then socially, freedom means a woman can walk into a room and be heard, not just seen. There are women whose voices have been shut down before because men have thought, what, like, whatever input you have does not matter, mainly because she wore a skirt. And it means being free from the boxes that society builds, the be a good girl, be a perfect wife, be a selfless mother, be a quiet leader. And all these boxes are so unrealistic. I mean, the term that is trending nowadays is soft parenting. I don't know if you know it, but a lot of people just throw that word around. You have to be soft parent. You have to be a soft parent. But I'm like, have you dealt with toddlers before? Like, toddlers are so difficult. I mean, like, you try soft parenting a toddler. Like, you try that. It's very difficult because toddlers are so hard. And I mean, social freedom is the power, to define her own roles, her own voice, her own value. Because who are people to tell you how to do a thing when they've never walked in your feet before? So yeah, to define your own voice, your own role, and your own value. And social freedom is about breaking the old rules and building new spaces where women uplift one another and not compete for the one seat at the table. And I'm sure we've all heard that women bring each other down, but I think we can break out of that, because I think walking around with a mindset that women bring each other down, it could limit you when you are in spaces of powerful women where you can connect and grow. But yeah, I think breaking out of that is one thing that leads to social freedom for women. And spiritual freedom for a woman, I believe it means that a woman can connect to what is sacred to her on her own terms. It means she can seek meaning, peace, and power in ways that align with her truth and not someone else's doctrine. It is the right to believe, to question, to wonder, and to return to herself, because we are very much allowed to restart, to find ourselves again, and yeah, live life with spiritual freedom, because true freedom for women is not just about breaking chains. It's about building bridges to each other and to ourselves. And now I would just love to touch on the stereotypes that are put on women. Oh, let's talk about stereotypes. Those invisible scripts we are handed at birth. scripts that tell women what to want, how to look, when to marry, and who to become. Like those boxes are very unrealistic. I mean, if you're like me in this day and age and you're trying umjolo, I mean, what do you mean you expect me to get married at the age of 25 and have my career worked up for me at at 26, you know? I mean, all these are so unrealistic and they are put on us as women. And when we do not conform to them or live up to them, we are seen as not worthy, you know? And sometimes those 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 hierarchies are not put necessarily by people on us, but they're self-imposed. We actually self-impose them on ourselves. And I'm sure we've all tried to follow that script until one day we realized that it actually was not written for us. I mean, for example, marriage for generations, it has been framed as the pinnacle of a woman's purpose. Like if you are not married by a certain age, people look at you with worry, pity, or even judgment. But the truth is, marriage is not the milestone of worth, honestly. Like choosing to marry late, early, never, or again is something that is deeply personal. And no one else gets to define whether your life is full based on your relationship status. Like, honestly, do you? And I think that is where true freedom comes from when you break out of all the stereotypes. And then there's the career stereotype. Oh, the idea that women should aim high, but not too high, be ambitious, but not intimidating, choose stable jobs that are female friendly. Guys, like people actually put so much on women, and it's just high time that we change our own narrative, you know? But the truth is women can be CEO, they can be artists, engineers. And I mean, we are seeing this at this day and age. We can be engineers, we can be activists, we can also be stay-at-home moms. I mean, there's no worry about that. We can also be entrepreneurs or all of the above at different points in our lives because our dreams are not too big. The box is just too small. And then we can also talk about physical appearance. From childhood, we are told how to be pretty, polished, thin, soft, smooth, quiet, you know. But freedom begins when we stop asking, do I look acceptable? And start asking, do I feel powerful? I mean, for me, I know that in primary, so I used to suck my thumb. And then when I went to high school, so I saw like a difference in my teeth. I was like, oh my goodness, my teeth are going too forward now. So my teeth are not straight anymore. And I don't think boys are gonna like this. And so I took the decision to stop sucking my thumb. I mean, when I look back now, I'm grateful that I stopped. That I stopped sucking my thumb. But also for me, it's the reason behind it. I think I shouldn't have done it because of someone else, you know. But more than anything, for me, I think it would have meant so much more when I look back at it. But you know, our bodies are not objects for approval. They are homes for our strength, you know, they are homes for our joy, and they are homes for our story. And that is why I invite all of us to tear up the old script. Let's write new ones where women don't have to shrink to fit, you know, where we can expand, where we can lead, rest, rebel, and to rise. So I would also love to share a personal story, one that is personal, but also painfully familiar to so many women. For the longest time, I carried a belief that I had to be perfect to be worthy, and I think there's so many of us who share the same belief that to be perfect, you have to be worthy. The perfect daughter, the perfect student, the perfect young woman. And it wasn't something anyone set me down and told me, but it was something that I absorbed, from the praise I got for being quiet, from the way mistakes were met with disappointment and not growth, from the silent pressure to always hold it together. I remember I actually believed that if I failed, I was a failure. And so I played it safe. I took jobs that looked good on paper. I said yes when I wanted to say no. I mean, I smiled when I was hurting. I hid my ideas in rooms where I felt I didn't quite belong. But here is what changed. I actually failed. I failed spectacularly. I pitched a project that I believed in, heart and soul, and it crashed. And the shame I felt was overwhelming. But in that broken place, something unexpected happened. I didn't disappear. I was still here, still whole, and still worthy. And in that moment, I realized the belief I had clung to that perfection equals worth was actually a lie. And so from that revelation, I started rebuilding, slowly. I began speaking up even when my voice trembled. I started making bold decisions and not just safe ones. And I let people see the real me and not the curated version. And I realized that failure was not the end. It was actually the start of my freedom. Because the truth is, we don't grow by getting it right every time. We grow when we show up fully, honestly, and bravely, especially when things fall apart. Yeah. And so now I would just love to emphasize on finding identity and purpose in something greater, because at some point we all ask ourselves the question, who am I really? Right? And not the version of me that people expect, because I don't even know why we think we know people's expectations, but we do that to ourselves. I mean, not the labels like daughter, mother, professional, partner, but the deeper the one that exists when no one is watching. And for a long time, I looked for that identity in achievement, in how much I could do, how well I could perform, and how many people I could please. And honestly, while that gave me moments of satisfaction, it just didn't give me peace. Because when your identity is built on performance, your worth rises and falls with every mistake, every opportunity, every comparison. Because honestly, to put your identity in other people's validation is actually a shaky foundation to even grow on. Because when there's a critic, you basically just fall. And I personally I've learned that that is not the way to go. But everything actually began to shift when I anchored my identity in something greater than myself. And for me, that meant reconnecting with faith, not as a routine or checklist, but as a relationship. Like I really invested in finding out the man who created me. Okay, man, the God, the God who created me, because he says I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. So I'm like, what do you mean I'm fearfully and wonderfully made when I'm having these thoughts of doubt, And it actually reminded me that I was created with intention, that I didn't have to earn love, that I actually already had it. And that gave me the courage to stop performing and actually start living. And I mean, for you guys, maybe it might be about discovering a calling, that thing that lights your soul on fire, or serving a community, where your presence makes a difference beyond what you even see. Maybe even just making someone else laugh. Because sometimes the greatest clarity about who we are comes when we give ourselves to something bigger than ourselves, but bigger than our fears, our ego or our doubts. Because someone told me this, that purpose does not always shout, right? It often whispers. And I was like, wow. Okay, purpose doesn't always shout, it often whispers. It actually shows up in moments of stillness, in acts of service, in quiet obedience to what we know is right. And when we align with that deeper purpose, everything else just begins to make sense. And it makes sense not because life gets easier, but because we become anchored in our purpose. We become anchored in who we truly are and what God says we are. When we become anchored in that, I believe that nothing can move us, nothing can shake us. Although things may fall apart around us, but honestly, um, like standing tall is what makes you push forward, right? And then I would just love to touch on like what happens when a woman becomes free, free from fear, free from the pressure to fit someone else's mold, free from the lie that she's too much or not enough. And what happens when she stops shrinking and starts showing up? Here is what I believe, that when a woman becomes truly free, right, she does not run away to live for herself alone, because that's just selfish. She leans into something deeper, she makes a choice, a beautiful choice, to become a servant of purpose. And I'm sure many of us are still searching, like, what does that really mean, to become a servant of purpose, a slave to growth and a vessel for impact? Because freedom is not just about what we walk away from, it is about what we walk toward. It's about what we walk toward. And when we are no longer bound by society's expectations, which are so unrealistic, we can bind ourselves to something sacred, the mission of lifting others, of mentoring the next woman coming behind us, of using our voice, our experience, our journey, not just as trophies, but as tools. Because I believe that we do not rise to just enjoy the view, we rise to pull others up. So yeah, we break the chains of silence, of shame, of smallness, of limiting beliefs. And in our freedom, we pick up a mantle, a covenant. We choose devotion, not to perfection, not to image, but to becoming, and to helping other women do the same. So yes, thank you very much. That is what I have for today. Oh yes. And we
Wow.
also, okay.
Okay.
I was about to give my key takeaways, but yeah. I think I mentioned the lesson.
So that we can allow them to give comment and ask questions.
Oh yes.
No, I think we can give them. We can give the key takeaways.
Oh, okay. So what I would love for you guys to take away from everything that I've said, I mean, you can see them right on your screen, but if you want to hear my voice say them, here I come. So lesson one is to strive to be a vessel of impact. And I think I did mention this, that if you do not know what that looks like for you, I think it's okay to just start going on a journey now, and just figure out what it means for you to have impact and which areas you can have impact. And I believe that when you find them, it'll be effortless for you to thrive in that. And then lesson two is acknowledge that you are enough just as you are. I think that just speaks for itself. Acknowledge that you are enough just as you are. No added on chilies from somewhere else. No trying to be someone else. I mean, inspiration. I mean, okay, how does the saying go? In imitation is just inspiration, but do not imitate your role model. Just use them as a source of inspiration, but acknowledge that you are enough just as you are. And then lesson three is society's expectations are not your mirror, because also those people are going through a lot. So it will be very crazy for you to even use what someone else is expecting of you as a reflection of who you are. So yeah, don't do that to yourself. And then lesson four is learn from your experience and your journey. We go through things to teach us something and to teach others something. So use that as your learning canvas, right? Yeah, as your learning tool, actually. Yeah, and then create your canvas from that. And then lesson five is use your journey and experience to empower others. Goes hand in hand to actually empower others with your story, with your voice, with what you've went through. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Thank you, Thobeka Tana.
Thank you,
Wow,
Anna.
that was such a wonderful presentation. Do we have women? How many women do we have here?
How many women do we have here?
Uh, like by
Where
a show of hands, can you guys show like how many women we have? Can you just raise your hands? if you are able to.
Hey.
Okay, I can see one day. If you can raise your hand, at least speak. Say, I'm here. Here I am.
Yes.
Okay, I'm seeing. Perfect, perfect. Who else? Who else? Okay. So this presentation was very, very, very inspiring. You know, it speaks about women, but I was taking notes, you know.
Yes.
Wow. All right. So I think I'm going to allow people to ask questions or give any comment on this one before we can move to the next presentation.
Okay.
Anyone with a question, you can, if you are not able to speak, you can just type it in the chat. Yes, and then the presenter will see it and respond to you. Any question or any comment? Okay, while they are thinking about their comments, there are some notes I took here, right?
Okay. Okay.
And there's something you said. You said that you must take bold decisions and not only safe ones.
Yes.
Wow, that was very powerful. That was very powerful.
Yeah.
Taking bold decisions and not only safe decisions. Most of the time, that's what we do because of fear. We we take decisions that are safer for us, decisions that can keep us in our comfort zone, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but that was very, very inspiring.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
Um,
yes,
we
I
can
see.
see in the yes, we can see in the chat. Yes. Dana is saying that this was powerful.
Thank you, Danai.
Okay. Do we have Mapala? Who is Mapala? Mapala, can you speak? Can you give any comment?
Please feel free. Feel free. No one bites. We don't bite.
Because I can see that the person is trying to speak, but I don't know.
Maybe it's the mic, but it's okay if you just write it down on chat.
Yeah, if you're not able to speak, and just write it down. We also have Kambule. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name properly. Okay, okay. Maybe they have problems with their mics, but we are
Yeah.
good. All right. So thank you so much for this powerful presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think now we're just going to move quickly, and we are going to end very early. We are supposed to end at 6, but we are just going to end very early. This is just a very, 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 very short um, meeting and very short workshop. And we actually trying to learn a lot of things. And from what you have presented, Thobeka, I feel like there's no even need to bring up another presentation. Yeah, but
I speak
just
for the
going to, yes.
yeah.
I must speak for the men. Eh? It seems like men in this group, they don't want to speak. Okay. All
Mm.
right, no problem. Let me try to speak for the men. Please confirm if you can see my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So allow me to reintroduce myself because I'm the next speaker, your MC, and your speaker for this one because I didn't want anyone else to come and represent the main. I needed to do it myself. All right, please confirm with me if you can see, what are you seeing on your screen?
The post. The poster.
The poster. Okay.
Okay.
Can you now see my slide?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. My name is Arnold Muna. I'm an innovator and an entrepreneur, and I'm also a reader. I like putting that specificity of being a reader because I like reading a lot and analyzing everything that is going on, number one, into the world, and also trying to see what other people think and what other people have written. Yeah. So even if I don't get the opportunity, I did not have the opportunity to meet with some of the greatest people that have ever lived, through their books and their materials, I can interact with them. Yeah. And I believe that every reader in this group can agree with me that reading is also a profession. Right. Okay. Without wasting time, I'm going to talk about freedom and responsibility as a man. I just want to ask this question, this open question, before I can dive deep into this presentation. This question is to the ladies in the group now. When you see a man, what do you expect from a man? When you see a man, what do you expect from a man? I know that women have a lot of expectations, and some of them, they expect men to have six packs. I don't know if all of you, if that's what all of you expect from men. Yeah, but I'm just asking an open question. Anyone can answer this question before we can continue.
A provider.
Okay,
Yeah.
you expect a man to be a provider. Okay, anyone
Yeah.
else? Anyone else? Or you can give another. We can give another one if there's no one to.
Protector.
A protector and a provider.
Yes.
Wow, wonderful. You know, we are living in a world where they expect more from men than from women. Yeah, they expect more from men than from women. Unfortunately, as well, this is my own opinion. I'm not, I'm not discriminating anybody, but they have brought also into the world the ability to say that no, you can decide to be the person you want to be, right? So you can decide to be either a woman or a man. It's up to you. Yeah, you can choose. I'm not yes, I'm not discriminating anyone, but I'm sure that everyone can be able to relate to that, you see. But from the foundation of the world and where everything started, there was always this expectation from men, right? What used to happen is that most of the time in the villages, men, they were the ones that were going out to go and hunt animals. Yes, to go and catch animals, to go and find food so that they can provide at home. And what the woman used to do in that time was to take care of the house, make sure there's water in the house, make sure the house is clean. I don't know if at that time they were using houses, they were calling them houses, but I don't know how they were calling them. Anyone can help on how they were calling the their habitations. Anyone? Okay, so actually the woman was staying in the house, and then the men will go and then fight, and then at the end of the day will come back with meat and a lot of things. So people were expecting men to go out. Whenever there's a fight, people were expecting men to go to war, you see. Whenever there was time to protect the territory, to protect the family, the men had to stand and fight. Yes. So because of that, because of those two perspectives, we can understand that there's a very clear difference between a man and a woman, just based on the expectations of the world on us as human beings. Yes. So there's a major difference between the two. Yeah. And one of the things also that we need to understand is that the two people or the two genders, I don't know, I'm seeing a message on the chat. Can
It was
you?
I was trying to answer your question. Is it hats?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yes, yes, yes. Hearts. Yes.
Yes.
So when women were there, they were making sure that that house, that habitation is proper, is clean and everything. And then they are able to take care of the children and stuff. But the men had to go out there and fight and find food and everything. So just based on this, there's a big difference between a man and a woman, and just based on the expectations of the world on us, right? Yes. And now, because of that, men now have created a certain pride into themselves to say that, okay, they are the leaders, they are the people who must take over. So whenever there's a problem, they are the one that must decide what's going to happen, which is also true because God has established it in that way. But there are a lot of things that we are now going to discover here, what actually affects the description of the freedom of men. When a man is saying that I am free. So we are going to see how that pride of being a man affects that pride of being a man affects your ability to perceive freedom or to define your personal freedom. So, according to men, what is freedom? Number one, freedom for men is independence. When a man says that I am free, it actually means that I am independent. And the number one form of independence that all men are looking for is financial independence, where they are able to buy things for themselves. They don't depend on their parents anymore, you see. And this is not only for like men, the definition of what men think, but the parent as well, the people around, they expect the men to be the provider. So that means he must be able to go out there and be financially independent. This is one of the expectations. And number two is authority over our lives. When men think about freedom, is thinking about authority over his own life. That means what we want to do what we want to do anytime we want to do it. Yes, without waiting for anybody to come and say you should do this or you should do that. And the other definition is freedom from expectations. Freedom from expectations simply means that men want to get into a stage where they are not afraid of the unknown. Yes, and they don't want to be perceived as if they don't know. When something happens to them, they don't want to be perceived as if they didn't know or they don't have control over that particular situation. You see, so men want to be able to be in a state where they are not afraid of the unknown. They are not afraid of what is coming to them. Yes. And freedom for men also means that they are not controlled by other people, other people's opinions, other people's way of thinking. Yes. And it doesn't matter how old that person is, the man just doesn't want to submit. It doesn't matter how powerful the man is, the man doesn't want to submit to anybody. You see, they don't want people to control them, start checking, oh, where are you? What are you doing? And everything. And also, the last one, men conceive freedom as unlimited provision. Unlimited provision simply means that they want to be in a state where they can provide for others without limits. Yes. And as for men, men actually going through a lot because of all these expectations that they have for themselves. Sometimes it's not even people that expect men to do certain things, but they themselves, they want to show that they are men, you see. So now I'm just going to talk very quickly about the areas in which men seek freedom from. Men seek freedom from, number one, where they actually struggle to get the freedom is when it comes to societal constraints. When it comes to the society expects a man to be a real man, which sometimes compel the men to not cry. Eh, eh, Have you ever heard this statement where when you see a boy crying and then they tell the boy, "Hey, you are a man, don't cry." Yeah. So you are a man, don't cry. And it's an expectation, and sometimes it's pressure over the men. While in reality, men have also they also need to cry. They also need to express their emotions. But because of the expectation of the society, they are not able to express themselves. They are not able to express, even in number two, they are not able to express their vulnerability because they can also reach a stage where they can cry, and sometimes it's necessary for them. But since we want them to become warriors at all time, now they suffer all those emotional imbalances into themselves, and they don't express them out. That's where you will see certain men, they kill themselves. You see, sometimes they just give up on everything and then they run away. You see, just because the society already is set up in such a way that men are not allowed to show their vulnerability. Yes, but we are all human beings anyway. We need to express ourselves. When we are under pressure, it's necessary to express ourselves. Yes, and not just say that I am a man, I cannot do this. I am a man, I cannot do that. Yes, it can at first it can feel like it's strength, but with time, that strength will be killing you from the inside, and that's why you will see certain men, they don't know now how to behave properly, you see, how to express their feelings properly. How many of us in this group are also worried about the crimes being committed around South Africa, for those who are in South Africa? Like there are people killing people everywhere. Yes. So that happened not because those people want to kill people. Sometimes it's because in their lifetime, they did not allow them to express themselves. And how do they now express their anger? They express their anger through killing other people. Because deep inside of them, they believe that the reason why they have problems is because of the society. And that's why when they go out, they don't care about the society because they believe inside them that the pressure, that everything that they are suffering now is because of the expectation of the society. The society is expecting them to have money. That's why they don't, then some of them are not afraid to kill, because when they kill, the other side of the society will be happy because they will have money, even if some people will be crying in the process. So their desire of meeting the society's expectation, that's what pushed them to actually put themselves into everything that we see today. And some of them, they are not even able to to express their feelings properly, you see. Do you know that people um, that rape women, all of us, I think we've been posting what was that? Justice for, was it Kwekwe? That small lady, small girl?
Yeah, quick.
Yes. We were all posting that justice for Kwekwe, justice for Kwekwe. Yes. Why are men going to rape young women? In medicine, they will call it a sickness, right? So they are not mentally stable and everything. But why are they not mentally stable? Because at a certain point in time, they were rejected. Most of the people that rape others, they live or they've lived in rejection. Because they couldn't meet the society's expectations, now they are rejecting them. How many of you ladies, you are afraid to date a man that does not have money? I know that you all love money, but how many of you cannot date a man that does not have money?
I mean, for me, money is not a problem. It's all
Mhm.
about other things than, the
Yeah.
monetary thing. I mean, if he has money, it's a cherry on top, but it's not the cake.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes. Some of the women have this different perspective, and I like whenever I present, I like it to be a conversation so that we can discuss. But I'm trying to be quick as well so that we'll finish as soon as possible. So men, people expect men to deliver certain things. And a lot of men have been rejected because of lack of money. I've met a lot of ladies when I ask them, why did you break up with that guy? And then she'll tell me he doesn't have money. And some of them, I even asked them, would you date somebody who doesn't have money? She will say, no, impossible. If he doesn't have money, I don't care about that guy. You see. So all these things are like a pressure on men. Yes. I'm not here to defending men, like to defend men, but I'm here to just bring that perspective so that we can understand where the problem is, you see. Because all these things now, they define how men perceive freedom and um, how they try to express themselves. Now, when we see the other constraint is the financial constraint, because a lot of financial demands is on men, especially in the case where he's married and then he has a wife. So most of the financial expectations are on him, and sometimes even when it's just a simple dating, you see. So the man must buy food for you, for the girl. The men must do this, the men must do that. So all those things came as a pressure on men. So that's why men, sometimes when they are not able to meet these expectations, now they are looking for shortcuts, you see. Because he knows that if he goes to a girl and then asks a girl nicely, um, can we go out or can we do this? Can we do that? He knows already that because he doesn't have money, it's gonna be rejected. Yes, he knows that. And because they want to satisfy their own desires now, the devil also uses that and amplify those feelings in them and then push them to the shortcuts that can be children, because they know that some children, they cannot defend themselves, so they can actually do certain things with the children, which is not right. And some men also, they live with spiritual constraints, which is like guilt, sin, and sometimes lack of purpose because of what maybe they've gone throughout their lives. Yeah. Do you know that men are more affected by mistakes than women? Are we
It's my
together?
it's
Yes. Men are kind of more affected by mistakes than women. Why? Because men, when they make a mistake, yes. I can see a comment there. I think I'll go back to it. Yes. Men, whenever they make a mistake, they feel like they have failed their mission. Even if that mistake is just a simple mistake, the guilt in men is higher than the guilt in a woman. Why? Because when a woman makes a mistake, she knows that a man can cover it up for her. You see? But when a man makes a mistake, there's no one who is going to cover his mistakes. And sometimes even women are used to expose the vulnerability of men in certain areas. And men live with that. And because of the pride that they are men, whenever they make a mistake, the guilt that they feel is higher than the guilt that certain women sometimes may feel. Yes. Which is actually something that must be shifted in the mind of men, because men must also understand that they are men, they are human beings. Yes. They are not only like superheroes that can come and save people. That one only happened in movies. But we are human beings, we have feelings. Yes. We are human beings, we have feelings. All of us, women and men. So that means when it comes to um, emotional constraints, so we must know that we are all at the same level. Yes. But now let's talk about freedom, because we're actually talking about freedom right now. And there's this scripture from the Bible. For those who read the Bible, it says that if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. You see. So that means um, because of the concept that men have into their mind that they are superheroes, sometimes they find themselves encaged into a cell that they have created themselves. Yes. Sometimes because they have too much debt, sometimes because they have to provide for people, and then they can create a certain cage around their lives so that out there they can try to appear as strong, but inside they are actually dying. And every man that is able to present himself as a hero while he's dying inside, that person is not free. I think all of us can agree on this one.
yes, definitely.
Yes. Now, let me talk about quickly when it comes to freedom as a man. Now, what does it mean? Because a lot of men are suffering from the inside. Now, I want to bring up this concept, which is actually a very important concept, from slavery to purpose. Every man who is 100% free is the man who is living for a purpose. Are we all together? Because when we talk about being a slave, we see like how, for example, we can take the example of Africa. Our ancestors were being enslaved, they were being sold for money and everything, and their only desire was to get out of slavery, to get out of slavery. Yes, because at the end, in their time, even the power of men could not do anything. Sometimes the women were even safer than the men. because they were using more the men to go and cultivate, to go and do this, to go into the mines and stuff. So they were actually using the men to a point where all the pride and all the power of men went down. And that's where you can even see here in South Africa. This one was from an interview that I had with one of the guy who works in the government here in South Africa. The guy told me that the system even of South Africa is designed in such a way that there's more privileges for women than for men. While they are expecting men to do well, they're expecting men to provide. But most of the opportunities that we were meant to be given to men are now being directed to other people. And sometimes when it's a man introducing a project, he has already 50% chances of being rejected. But when it's a woman, she can easily be accepted. Yes. But let's come back to this. Because of everything that we have suffered, right? We can now wake up and be like, and if I can put it this way, misdefine freedom and like define freedom as revenge. Most of the time, what we call in Africa, what we call as freedom, is actually not freedom, but it's revenge. I don't know if some of you can agree with me on that. Yes. So most of the time we define, instead of saying that we are free, our freedom, we define it as revenge. That way, when we wake up, we'll see that Black people, they hate white people. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them. I'm Black anyway. But you will see that Black people hate white people. They also want to do to the white people what the white people did to them. There are people that live with that anger inside of them, you see. And a lot of African countries, that's how they are behaving. Whenever they have an opportunity to, let's say, mistreat a white people, they will do it well. Because they will remember these people did us this and this and this and this and that. And that's how we tend to express our freedom. Yes. To do whatever we want to do. When we want to kill people, we kill them. When we want to do this, we do it. But I want us as men to redefine what freedom as a man is. Actually, freedom, number one, isn't just enhanced. Freedom is the beginning. Yes, freedom is the beginning. I can even call it, you may be asking yourself, the beginning of what? The beginning of life itself. Any person who is not free is not living. Yes, freedom is the beginning of life. And now, when we are freed from something, we must actually choose what we become a servant to next. In truth, what I want to say is this. Actually, the word freedom or the concept freedom does not exist. Are we together? Yes. The concept freedom itself does not exist. What actually exists in the place of freedom is just what we call freedom is not actually freedom, but is the change of slavery. That means you change the master. Before, this person was your master, or this concept was your master and was keeping you into bondage. Now, when you become free, you actually become a slave again, but to a higher purpose. Are we together on this one? I think Thobeka spoke about this as well. So freedom is actually slavery to a higher purpose. Yes. So when we define freedom in this way, that way we won't take it as a revenge, but whenever we go out there, we will go with the mindset of helping the situation and not making the situation worse wherever we find ourselves. And my third point says that when you are free from something, you must become a slave to something else, to a higher purpose. And these are some of the things you can become, that you can serve, or you can become a servant to. So you can choose now as a man, instead of rising up fighting everybody because they did not allow you to do these things before. Now that you have the opportunity to do them, you want to abuse of those things. And some people that were not free before, let's say they were into prison, even when they come out of prison, they put they jump into things like drugs. They now want to enjoy life by destroying other people's lives. Like a lot of people are like that, and that their own concept of freedom. But that's not actually freedom, it's revenge. Yes. Your freedom should never affect someone else's freedom. Yeah. If your freedom is truly freedom, your freedom should not negatively affect someone else's freedom. Are we together? Yes. Okay. I think let
Yes.
me just finish.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me just finish so we can discuss like in the according to the chart. Yes. Your freedom should not disturb and someone else's freedom. And for your freedom to actually not disturb anyone other people's freedom, you must choose to serve. Number one, you must choose to serve your purpose. You must choose to serve a vision. That means you must have a vision for yourself. And a vision should not be to kill people, for example. No. You must serve your family if you have one. You must serve your faith, your belief. And at last, you must serve your community. That means our freedom should make the world a better world than we found it. Are we together? I wanted to give you a story, but because of time, I think I'm gonna skip this part so that we can just discuss it a little bit. But what I want to say on this one is that every person has a story. Yes, every person has a story. Every single person, no matter their age, they do have a story. Even if they are just like 2 years in this world, they have a story. They have something to say. But from our story, we must always try to identify what are these things that are keeping me into bondage. Yes. What are these things that are not allowing me to be free, to even express myself? I can give you my own example. I was one of the person that was not talking a lot. Even when I have good ideas, I never expressed my ideas. I never expressed my ideas. And sometimes I saw many things happening that they were not supposed to happen. But they happened because I didn't say anything. And I had the solution, I had the answer. Because of fear inside me, I couldn't express myself. But after identifying that that thing was a problem in me, I decided to start working on myself, to start expressing myself a bit more. And then after expressing myself and everything, I'm now trying to become an inspiration to other people, to other men, so they can stand and express themselves, express what they really feel, and not only what people want to hear. Because a lot of men are conditioned to tell people what they want to hear and not what they really feel inside. especially to women. Do you know that a lot of people express what women want to hear and not what they really think or what they really feel?
I mean, definitely to like an extent, I'm reflecting on how
Mhm.
true that is. It's very true.
Yeah. It's not true in all the cases, but at least it can even be 20% true. All right. So to end my presentation for today, I think I'm going to end here. Freedom comes actually with responsibility. That's what we need to know. We must become servants, and our freedom comes with responsibility. And we are not freed for self-indulgence, but for building others up, for carrying other people's burdens, and to serve God's kingdom. And serving God's kingdom, it depends on everybody's belief, but we must just make sure that we make this world better than we found it. And key takeaways for today from today's session is that lesson one, freedom is free. Yes, freedom is personal. Number one, for you to be able to set free a country or a group, you yourself must be free. Yes, and you must define your freedom according to your problems, according to the things that keep you into bondage. Yeah. A lot of people smile outside, but inside of them, they are not free. They suffer from a lot of things. And we can mention even addictions, you see. And if you are suffering from something like that, you must first conquer that thing inside you before you can save other people. Yes. And that's why lesson two says that identify the chains in your own life. Since freedom is personal, you must always make sure that you identify the chains in your own life. And after identifying them, you must break free and choose what you will serve next. If you were serving pornography, you must change and choose something that you are going to serve. If you were serving drugs, you must find something else. I don't know if you find cold drink or anything, but it must be something that better the world and does not make it worse. And your freedom should become someone else's blessing, and your freedom is actually a responsibility. Yes, responsibility follows freedom. The more you are responsible of your own life, the more you are responsible of other people's life, the more free you're going to become. Thank you. All right, all right, all right. Thank you so much. It's only the two of us in the meeting, but it was very nice.
Yes.
Let's go through. Wait, let's go through. Um, let's go through
The chats.
the comments, the chat.
Yeah.
Who is Marcela Mapala? Who is this
I'm not
guy?
sure. I'm not sure.
Wow. Okay. All right. But I think anyway, we'll have a chat with this person. I will check on his number and everything.
Yeah.
But it's saying something very, very interesting. Okay, any comments from this one? I won't give the comment. You give me the comments.
I mean, honestly, you have opened my eyes to what men actually go through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. Is it safe to say I feel bad for men because they go through so much? I feel so bad for men because I think society has just expected them to be so tough, like just toughen it up and like move on
Mm-hmm.
with your life. No one cares about your feelings, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, yeah, wow. Well said. Well said.
Wow, thank you, thank you. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and anything else? Okay, can you help me go through the chats?
Okay,
Maybe you can read some of the things.
okay. So Marcella said regarding the vulnerability and emotional suppression, women on podcast often classify men who vent as weak or feminine. That is why they mostly silence. That's
Mhm.
very true. That's really true. So men are afraid to be classified as weak when they voice out their concerns or problems.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then so he echoed what you were saying that I think you mentioned that women's mistakes are covered by men, and this is very true. It
Mhm.
stood out. And then he also went to say that we now live in an economy where both men and women are giving equal opportunities. Therefore, is it okay to conclude that women are providers? And
Okay,
then
that was a question, I think.
yes, it was a question. And then I answered, I said, to a degree, yes, women take the role of providers, especially in the Black community, because you see mothers who are sole providers in a household, but there are men
Mhm.
who view being provided for a woman as a weakness. And so that becomes a constraint for a man.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That- That's actually true, and I really like your answer.
yeah.
Um, I feel like we are like there's something that we don't understand
Mm,
as as human being on Earth. Do you know that at a point, that's my own perspective, that
yeah.
there are certain areas of life where you don't need to identify yourself number one as a man or as a woman,
Mm.
especially when there's a problem that need to be solved. We don't care who brings the problem as long as we have the solution.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Mm,
So a lot of people, they limit themselves.
yeah.
Imagine, let's say you are in a house where um the man is the provider, and the man says that okay, the woman is the woman, so she must be a housewife. There's nothing wrong with being a housewife, right?
Uh,
But if he wants, if that's what the lady wants, it's fine. But let's
yeah.
say the lady wants also to do business and she wants to, make money and stuff.
Mm,
Can can't you can't you see that that house, if they are able to bring in income, the
mm,
family will prosper so much faster than if it's the men only providing for the family.
mm,
Do, do you see that?
yeah.
Yes. But because of the pride, I'm the man, I'm the
Mm,
one who has to provide. Even if you are not able to provide, you still want to provide. It's okay. It's fine. We understand the pressure. We understand. But if there's a need to allow the woman to work and provide, do that.
mm,
And women also, they must also understand. Providing as a woman is not now the occasion to prove a point.
yeah.
No, because a lot of women also what they do is that they want to prove a point. You
Mm,
see, yes, they are trying hard to prove a point that they can also provide. But that's not the problem.
yeah.
Bringing money in the house doesn't make you better than the other person.
Yes,
Yes, we are all human beings.
we are.
We are all human beings. And whenever all of us die, sometimes it's even difficult to identify this was a man, this was a woman.
Wow.
They're just skulls there,
Mm,
laying under the underground. You
yeah.
see, and we don't care who's there. We don't care if it was a woman or if it was a man.
Mm,
You see, as long as we had the solution.
yes.
There's this lady. It's a woman who saved. I think in that time when like Europe was still had like kingdoms and stuff. There's
Yeah.
this lady called Jin Dark, I think Jin Dark.
Mm-hmm.
She actually saved the whole kingdom
Wow.
because in reality she was stronger than certain men.
Hmm.
Yes, and she could really fight. And she fought.
Hmm.
Yes, and she saved the kingdom. You see,
Wow.
so when there's a problem, for me, honestly speaking, I don't care if it's the woman bringing the solution or if it's the man. As long as we have the solution, we are good.
Yes.
You see, so I think we should have that perspective. All right, let me go back to being the MC. Wow, it was a nice,
It was a
this
nice
was
one. I
it was a
enjoyed it.
nice one. Honestly, I enjoyed